So, Ginger.
Yeah?
You know how we wanted to start a podcast, but we were having trouble coming up with a topic?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my pitch. The topic of the podcast is us trying to come up with the topic for the podcast.
What? Like we pitch each other podcast ideas and that's the podcast?
Yeah, exactly. We could call it, What Should Our Podcast Be About?
Miles, that's really stupid. Let's do it.
What should this song be about? I'm trying to figure it out. What should this song be about? Could you perhaps help me out? I've had a moment of doubt. What should this song be about? Welcome to What Should Our Podcast Be About? The podcast where we try to figure out what this podcast that you're listening to right now should be about. I'm Miles Grover.
And I'm Ginger Brown.
It is Father's Day as we're recording this.
Yes, it is.
So that's cool, I guess.
Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there and people with dads.
But none of the dads in here.
No, I already wished the dad in here a happy Father's Day. You only get one.
Oh, okay. I can't have one recorded on the podcast.
No,
of course.
No, I don't want that out there for posterity.
All right. Well, this is a good energy to start with.
No, happy Father's Day.
Yeah.
You are a wonderful father and a great podcaster.
Oh, well, some of that might be true. Shall we just get right into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
I figured we probably should talk about some father-y, dad-based stuff
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
For example, a podcast where we rate and review dad jokes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Could be fun,
That could be
maybe.
fun. That could be fun.
I'm on a group chat with some friends, and
Are they telling dad jokes?
a dad joke image was sent with a bunch of quote-unquote emergency dad jokes.
All right. Are you gonna fire some of them at me?
Do you want to hear?
Yeah,
one or
of course
two of
I do. I always want to hear dad jokes.
People in Dubai don't like the Flintstones, but people in Abu Dhabi do. Which I don't...
Like yabba dabba do.
I'm pretty sure Svetlana would not get any Flintstone references.
No,
right?
you're right.
So it's not necessarily the most useful for current dads.
It's not a current dad joke.
How do you find Will Smith in the snow? Look for the Fresh Prince. Another extremely dated reference.
Yeah, I feel like people still know who the Fresh Prince is, though.
I guarantee you Svetlana has no idea. She probably doesn't even know who Will Smith is.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, maybe she does, but I doubt she knows anything about the Fresh Prince. They
We'll
did
have
make
to
a
test
recent,
it.
serious Fresh Prince show, didn't they?
Did they?
I think they did.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
But, yeah.
I thought there was like a reunion show or something, maybe. I don't know.
Which computer has the best voice?
Which one?
Adele. And again, I'm not sure if Svetlana would know that Dell is a brand of computers. Right? Like, I mean, for one thing, Dell, I'm sure, still sells lots of computers, but like, kids don't even pay much attention to PCs at this point.
They don't get the dude, you're getting Adele joke.
Right. And I'm sure they don't. So, yeah. So, not the most helpful. There's other ones that are bad in different ways. How do you count cows? With a calculator. That's like popsicle stick.
That's a popsicle stick joke for sure.
That's not even. And then this one's.
Although I could see a dad in like shorts and flip flops telling that joke, probably.
Yeah, I guess. But it'd be like if you were out near some cows and you had some. Like you would make a dumb pun like that, but it wouldn't just be that simple, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, here's one. What's red and bad for your teeth? A brick.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, that's not really a dad joke. That's just a weird anti-joke.
It's a pretty good one, actually.
All right. Well, so that's something we could do. We could talk about different dad jokes. I'm sure we could Google up a bajillion stupid dad jokes.
Yeah.
Quote unquote dad jokes.
Yeah. What about a podcast? I was thinking, like, what about a podcast where we review our favorite famous dads? TV dads, movie dads.
Okay.
Video game dads.
Who are some of your favorite dads from TV or video games or whatever? Books, I guess. Podcasts. Who's your favorite dad from a podcast?
You.
Yay.
Oh, no one saw that coming.
No, I wasn't fishing for anything there.
Well, he's not. Do dad like figures count? Because if dad like figures count, then I would say Giles from Buffy.
Okay, sure. He's a father figure to Buffy, I guess.
Yeah.
He's not her actual dad. What happened to her dad? I don't remember.
He's like on a couple episodes, but he like lives far away and doesn't see her often.
But he didn't like tragically die or anything.
No, he's just like a distant father.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. When you say dads from TV, I just immediately think of Alan Thicke for some reason.
Oh, yeah, from Growing
So,
Pains.
Growing Pains, yeah. But I didn't particularly like Growing
He was
Pains.
fine.
Or him as a dad particularly, right? Like
He was fine.
he was fine. I guess another one that's a bit more spicy at this point is, The Cosby Show with Bill Cosby.
Oh, yeah.
I did enjoy that show back in the day. I liked his comedy
really
back
like The Cosby
at a
Show.
certain point I did anyway, but
I
yeah.
didn't really like Bill Cosby's comedy either.
He has some great comedy albums from like the 70s.
I felt like he was always like, you kids need to pull up your pants kind of.
No, he wasn't
comedy.
like that until like the 90s.
Well, that was when I knew him really, and so not a big fan.
Yeah, well,
So
that works out.
yeah, that works out, right? Who else? Let's see.
I've been playing a lot of Hades. Hades is the dad of the main character of both Hades 1 and Hades 2.
He's not a very good dad.
He's not a very good dad, but
he's like a hard ass dad.
Yeah, but he's also like a little bit misunderstood and like sad dad, right? Because Persephone's gone. Does he think she's dead? No, he just thinks she's gone. But
yeah, he's got some toxic masculinity going on though. Not talking about his feelings.
Yeah, I don't get the sense that that's from his masculinity so much as he's just like the most introverted god, maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
something,
but
you know what I mean?
like he doesn't show his son he loves him. Like
yeah.
I'm just saying, like he's got some issues. He could use some therapy.
Yeah, well, and he gets a little better as the first game goes on.
Yeah.
And the second game, well,
I haven't played the second game.
Spoilers.
A lot of people have not. So
he's been captured by the bad guy.
Don't spoil too much because
I mean that's in the trailer.
Very few people have played that game since it is only in early access.
Okay, well, we could, I'm sure we can think of more.
Yeah.
So that's something we could talk more about if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, so an example of a dad from media that I quite enjoy from back in the day is Calvin's dad in Calvin and Hobbes.
Okay.
And I was thinking we could talk about some of his stuff because do you remember like the dad stuff in that?
No, I've not read as much Calvin and Hobbes as you have.
Okay, well, he had a few kind of different things he did, but a lot of comics were like Calvin asking him why sunsets are this color or whatever, and him just making up complete bullshit. Like,
oh,
and that was kind of fun.
All right.
It would potentially lead us into reading comics on the podcast again.
Yeah.
A well-known bad thing to do.
Yeah.
On this podcast.
Not good audio.
But we do it fairly often because this podcast is a lot of bad audio, actually.
Yeah.
Turns out.
Is that why we don't get many listeners, you think?
Oh, that's an interesting thing to think about. Maybe if we did a good podcast.
I'm just trying to connect the dots here.
Yeah, maybe we need one of those conspiracy boards. Maybe if we did a good podcast, we'd have more listeners.
What are some bad dads?
Bad dads. Well, that also makes me think of Calvin and Hobbes because he would always make like crazy snowmen. And I remember at one point, he filled up the driveway while his dad was at work. He filled up the driveway with protesting snowmen holding up like signs saying like, Egad, bad dad. And other like, I forget what he was mad at his dad about. But so I don't know. If we did something about bad dads, I guess we could call it Egad, bad dad.
Yeah. All the dads from the Dadlands.
Are they good bad dads or bad dads?
Good dads.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
not the hard ass dads.
Yeah, I mean, there's bad dads. The main
dads,
characters. Yeah.
The main characters.
I mean, they're not really good dads in that they're aesthetically dads, but they don't have kids or wives or anything. Dadlands is
well, they do probably, right? Like they just aren't part of the story.
No, they don't. Like it is part of the story. There are no women, there are no moms until like the end when they contact the mothership or whatever. Dadlands is a Adventure Zone sort of spin-off.
One shot, yeah.
There's been 2 or 3
not
of them,
one
so
shot,
it's not exactly a one shot, but Brennan Lee Mulligan DMs.
Yeah.
And the idea is they're like several different kinds of dads in a land of only dads.
It's wonderful.
It's very fun.
And we saw it.
We saw it live. Yeah.
We saw it live when I was pregnant.
Yeah, well, a little bit before Rory was born.
Like our last little trip before Rory was born.
I feel like a podcast about bad dads would be pretty sad, though.
Yeah.
Egad, sad about bad dads.
Yeah. No, I was just. I wasn't suggesting a whole podcast about that. I just, for the sake of our conversation, I was like, what are some bad dads?
I feel like bad dad is sort of the default.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have to try to not be bad dad.
Yeah.
To some extent.
Yeah, that's
at least
true.
In media and stuff, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Most dads in the real world, I'm sure, are just trying their best or whatever. But yeah. podcast about like mustaches or facial hair. Is that a dad thing?
Yeah. I feel like that's a dad thing, but I mean, maybe I feel like that's a dad thing because my dad had a mustache.
Yeah, my dad had a mustache or a goatee. Occasionally he would shave and like you wouldn't know what was wrong, but something was wrong with his face. You know? Like what's going on here? But he almost always had at least a mustache or else a goatee.
When I was born, he had a beard too. He had the full beard happening.
My dad did? How do you know?
No.
Your dad had a full beard.
My dad had a full beard.
Yeah. I don't think I ever saw my dad with a full beard. Maybe he couldn't really grow one or something because I don't think he ever tried. I never saw it.
I only saw it in pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess mustaches are somewhat popular with hipsters and stuff these days, I guess.
Yeah.
I've done a mustache a few times. It's kind of fun to do, but like,
yeah.
It's got a dad vibe about it, I feel like.
And then you can say, I mustache you a question.
Right. Yes, sure.
And you can be very dad-like.
Yep.
You can reference your facial hair in your dad jokes.
Yep. Indeed. Yeah. That's a good one. Okay. Well, I don't know what we would talk. I mean, I do have that poster that covers lots of different kinds of beards and stuff.
Yeah.
It's comical. It's not like real, but.
Wait, is it beards or mustaches?
Beards and mustaches.
Beards and mustaches.
Yeah. It's from Wondermark, that comic.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Don't know it. But...
Do you know the term sea lioning?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
It comes from Wondermark.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I know that comic.
It's a comic where he, by David Malky, where he gets pictures from like old books, like old illustrations that are, way into the public domain at this point, and then he makes comics using those. So it's kind of a cool comic.
Yeah.
I assume it's still going. I guess I haven't looked at it in a while, but anyway.
You just always want us to do a podcast where we talk about comics.
I guess that's the thing. I guess. Yeah. I mean, I make comics, so I guess it makes sense.
It makes sense.
And I read comics and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have any more dad-based ideas.
I don't have any more dad-based ideas either.
All right. Well, maybe we can put a pin in dad-based for now and come back to it.
We'll do our best to tell as many dad jokes this episode as possible, though.
I mean, when don't we?
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah. I had an idea based on a video I saw today, and the idea is called Nightmare Scenario.
Okay.
And it's a podcast where we talk about different like situations you can get into that would be your specific nightmare that you would hate to be in.
Okay, so for fun, let's see if we could guess each other's nightmare scenarios.
Well, I'm guessing,
Let's see if we can come up with a nightmare scenario for each other.
Well, I feel like there's probably a lot, and I don't know if they're all specific to my particular fears and stuff, but like, because I saw this video of people at a amusement park on one of those things that like lifts you up in the air and you swing all around on it or whatever, and the power went out and they got stuck upside down like 50 feet in the air for a half an hour.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, that's probably horrible, a lot of people's,
right? Like, that's probably
a nightmare scenario for
right?
A lot of people.
Especially because like, I feel like with amusement park rides, like that are at all like thrilling or whatever, the whole thing is you're like, well, it's sort of a scary idea, but I know I'll be safe, right? So I'm going to do this thrilling, slightly scary thing, and then it's not safe.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I think everybody was fine. Like one person got taken to the hospital as a precaution, but I think everybody was fine. But it still would be like, for one thing, it would be socially really awkward. Like, so we've been up here for a while. You're talking to the person next to you or whatever, like socially awkward. You probably would have the blood rushing to your head. It would be physically extremely awkward.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like...
being upside down for too long can kill you.
Yeah, it can. It can. I think they just had to, like, there was some kind of manual override, but it took a while to get it going or whatever is what I read. But anyway, like, yeah, obviously it could be deadly. So but I mean, I don't feel like if I was in that situation, I would be like that scared that it would, that all these people would actually die. Like there must be stuff for this situation to resolve it, but,
right? But
it is possible.
Yeah,
that would suck a lot.
Yeah I mean, I feel like that's a nightmare scenario that would probably be a nightmare for most people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, not all of the nightmare scenarios have to be like my specific fears or whatever.
But for fun. Well, I think I could pretty easily come up with a nightmare scenario for you.
Okay. I feel like maybe we've even talked about this a little bit before, but...
I mean, I need you to go talk to someone that you've never met. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you very vague directions on how to get there. You're not driving. You're taking like several buses.
Okay.
Yeah. And you got to figure out where to buy bus tickets too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this wouldn't would definitely be a big hassle and make me anxious. I don't know if it rises quite, like, I feel like nightmare scenarios need to be a little more acute, right?
Yeah.
Like this is a little bit more of a generalized, like, it sure sucks to have to like do all that stuff, right? But like, you're not like trapped in a moment where something horrible has happened or something, right? You know what I mean?
Have you ever been stuck in an elevator?
I don't think so, actually.
I got stuck in a crowded elevator once.
Oh, jeez.
Like we were packed in there.
God.
And I was stuck in there for like a half an hour.
Okay. I was afraid you were going to say like 4 hours.
No.
Because that would be a situation where it's not quite as acute in that, like, it's not a moment, but it's so many moments of an acute, like, shitty situation of, like, being stuck in an elevator for half an hour is like bad, but you can go on with your day afterwards.
But we were just like packed in there, and it was awkward. It was not anybody I wanted to talk to.
Right. You can't relax.
I got to make small talk for half an hour.
Right.
I don't know what I would have done before, smartphones, because at least I could like look at my phone.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Like, yeah, before smartphones, that would be a lot worse. Now everybody would just like read Instagram or whatever on their phone, and it would be like awkward and not great, but it would be, nobody would feel like they had to do something to like stay entertained or whatever. Like, it would be easy. It would be easy to pass the time, right?
Except there are the people that feel like they need to make conversation anyway, and then you feel like you have to respond.
Yeah, which could be annoying, but like, if you are just keep looking at your phone and give like monosyllabic responses, those people will probably stop.
Sometimes.
I don't know.
Yeah, it really depends on the person. It depends
on who's in there. But I do feel like it would really suck because you can't, if it's packed, you can't like sit down or lean against stuff really.
No, yeah.
You're
like, it was kind of awkward looking at my phone even.
Yeah. And like, again, like a half an hour you can go on with your day, but if you got stuck in an elevator like that for like 4 hours or something, that would be nightmarish. I guess it somewhat speaks to the ease of our lives that's a nightmare scenario. Maybe like it's not that bad, but it would be a very unpleasant
It's very
experience.
First world problems for sure.
Yeah, but it would also really suck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess this kind of nightmare scenario would also need to be like not too serious, right? Like, getting into a car crash and hitting a bunch of orphans or something. Yeah. And everything's bloody and, right? Like, that's too much.
Yeah.
Too much.
I mean, being stuck in an elevator is a personal fear for me too.
Okay.
Because, like, I know that elevators are basically safe at this point, but like, I've seen enough horror movies where people get decapitated by elevators or the elevator plummets.
Right.
Like, that it is a little bit of a fear of mine. So.
Yeah. It's interesting because I feel like people get stuck in elevators all the time in movies and stuff to the point where like it's not particularly thrilling or exciting. I mean, it can be if it's a good movie or whatever, but it's not like, it's normal. It's a normal kind of situation to see people in a movie.
Yeah, but it's always like gets stuck in like
I mean,
in between the floors, and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna crawl out.
In horror movies, there's that kind of thing is coming if people get stuck in the elevator. But I'm just saying, like, in real life, it would be it would make a huge impression on my like life, right? Like, I would think a lot about it. It would impact my mentality or whatever for a while. I feel like
getting stuck in an elevator.
like it would be a big deal to me. Whereas like, it's pretty rote, pretty routine in movies at this point. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it does make it, it makes it seem like it happens all the time, even though it really doesn't.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so what's similar to this? Like, I feel like the amusement park ride and the elevator are right in the sweet spot of like nightmare scenario where it's serious enough but not too serious. What are some other things that could be in that category?
Well, for me, tarantula sitting for a friend, and the tarantula gets out. Okay. I feel like that's another common thing in movies where you're pet sitting and something happens to the pet. Yeah. Or whatever. Which also would be pretty horrible in real life. Right. But particularly if it's a tarantula.
Right.
I'm terrified of spiders. I'm slowly working on getting over my fear of spiders.
Yeah, I mean, you've been fairly chill with the spiders in our house.
Yeah, lately. I try to just let them be and let them do their thing, and then they move on, and it's been fine. I don't mind if they build webs in the ceiling because they keep the bad bugs away. But we also don't get the giant spiders here.
Right. No, like, the spiders aren't very big.
Like, we would get wolf spiders in my house growing up, and like, which are harmless, but God, they're scary looking.
Right.
And I'm definitely not to the level of like, I could scoop up a rogue tarantula and put it back in its terrarium.
Right. I don't think I'm at that level. I'm not terribly afraid of spiders. I don't particularly like them, but I don't think I'm really at that stage either. I think I would have to find like
a glass
net or something that I could like scoop it up with, some kind of long scooping apparatus.
And why did we agree to tarantula sit?
Why did they need someone to tarantula sit?
Well, someone's got to feed the tarantula.
But you don't need to sit it. You could just come feed it every once in a while.
They were going to be gone for like a month. I'm saying this actually because this did happen to me. Not the tarantula escaping, but I was in a scenario where we were tarantula sitting for someone once. I just didn't go in that room ever.
How did you feed it?
Well, I didn't. My boyfriend at the time did.
Yeah.
He otherwise the arrangement would not have worked out well for anyone involved.
Right. But I guess what I'm saying is like, if you're sitting, like pet sitting a lot of times is like, hey, I'm going to be out of town. So if you want to hang out at my house, like that's cool. Right. But what I really need is for my pets to be fed.
I feel like they were like moving or something. And there was nowhere for the tarantula to be for a little while. Anyway.
So was that your house?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I see. Because I was going to say, like, you just don't have, you could just not go over to their house very often and just go over to feed it or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. But
no, this was at our apartment.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It didn't escape or anything, but, you know, like.
I imagine they don't very often.
No, but what a nightmare it would be if they did.
Yeah. I mean, I would be afraid of accidentally stepping on it or something too, right? Like
I would be afraid to, I'm thinking about it and I can feel my blood pressure rising.
Yeah.
Like thinking about the reality of it. Like I would be terrified to go anywhere in the house.
Yeah. I'm imagining myself putting on like hockey pads or something and some kind of stick based way to get the spider.
I mean, we have cats, so honestly, the spider would probably be dead in that situation.
That's true.
But
for a while, we'd be pretty freaked out about it.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't, like I said, I'm not like I'm not like more afraid than average, I guess, about spiders per se. But like, I don't want it crawling on me.
People live in places where you could just have a tarantula end up in your house. That's a crazy thought to me. Like, I just couldn't live somewhere where a tarantula could just show up in my house.
Yeah. And I guess tarantulas, in terms of big spiders, are kind of a best case scenario because they're like fuzzy and not terribly dangerous to people usually.
Yeah.
I feel like there's much grosser and freakier spiders you could end up with in your house, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, well, what you don't want is a black widow, right?
Well, sure. Definitely don't want that. All right. So pet sitting a tarantula is another nightmare scenario.
Yeah. So or living somewhere where ranchos just show up in your house.
Ranchos, right. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess there could be some legs to this idea of trying to come up with or talk about different nightmare scenarios.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think this one's got some legs.
Got a lot of legs far.
Spider legs.
Do you have other ideas?
I have one more, which it kind of actually is along these similar lines. So we are getting ready to go to Arizona next month. Mm-hmm. To visit my dad, and we're not terribly excited about it. Excited about visiting my dad,
but not about Arizona.
Not about Arizona because we are not built for the heat.
No.
So it got me thinking about, we've been trying to make the best of it and come up with ways to like be excited about this trip, like staying in a hotel with a rooftop pool. So my idea for a podcast is called Make the Best of It, and it is a podcast where we travel to places we don't really want to go to.
Okay.
But we make the best of it.
Okay, interesting. Do you have any other examples that you can think, like, where would we go that we don't want to go to?
West Virginia.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of ranchos there.
In the parade.
No. I have friends who live in West Virginia, and I've seen them post pictures.
I don't think they're native to West Virginia.
They've run across them in their, like, backyard.
I don't feel like that's... I mean, maybe there's escaped ones or something, I guess, but...
I'm pretty sure I sent you this post from my friend when it happened. Okay, so there's not tarantulas in West Virginia. These aren't technically tarantulas, but they sure look like tarantulas. Like, look at this guy.
That does not look to me like a tarantula, but it is a big hairy spider.
So yeah, so anywhere with like large spiders is probably somewhere I don't want to go.
Okay.
Other places.
I feel like if you go to West Virginia or Australia or whatever, you're probably not actually that likely to encounter a lot of that wildlife most of the time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, especially if you just go to a city and you stay in the town or whatever, like you stay in the buildings and stuff. But I feel like there's places where, like, what is it that about a place that makes it suck to go to, right? Besides potentially weird wildlife.
I mean, we could even just be like terrible theme parks or something.
Yeah, okay.
Or just like little tiny towns where there's nothing going on.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, like we visited our friends when they just moved. Christine was on the podcast a few episodes ago, but they just moved from their small town in Maine that they lived in, and we visited there, and there was like 2 places around.
Yeah.
Right. But we were there visiting friends, and we just hung out and played games and stuff. So I guess that sort of counts as making the most of it, but we were there for that anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if that would count, but like, how would we make the most of it if we just went to some random little town somewhere?
Well, we've got to research the place, and this is a podcast that would require some research. We got to research it and be like, okay, I found out, we're going to this place, but like 10 miles from there's like the biggest ball of string or something,
Okay, yeah. I'm less interested in this now that you said there's research involved. I wonder if we could combine nightmare scenario and make the best of it. Like, how do you make the best of it if you're stuck in an elevator or if you're stuck upside down?
Yeah.
Or similar things could maybe be
or what are some travel nightmare scenarios? Losing your luggage, obviously.
Losing your luggage. I was thinking of like times when there's been like snow in Seattle where you're literally stuck on the highway for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
That would be pretty nightmarish.
Or like you're waiting there's something mechanical going on with the plane and you're waiting to take off for like 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
And you're traveling with a baby.
Right. Yeah. That sucks. Or you're waiting a really long time to get off the plane, which has happened as well.
Yeah. That's happened to me when I have to pee and they like won't let you get up to go pee or anything because they are like, this is the most dangerous part of the flight. And I'm like, bullshit, it is.
Yeah.
I think the part where you're thousands of feet in the air is the more dangerous part of the flight.
Well, I think there probably are statistics that takeoff and landing are probably more likely to...
Yeah, but we were landed. We were just circling.
We were just circling on the tarmac or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't seem terribly dangerous. I guess it's...
Because you know how slow it's going.
Walking around could be slightly dangerous.
I'm like, I could walk faster than this plane is going right now.
It might be the most dangerous and the rest of it's just really not very dangerous, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I had to run to the bathroom to like barf one time.
Oh yeah, they tried to stop you. I remember.
They were like trying to stop me, and I was like, "You don't want to stop me," and they were like, "Oh, okay." I didn't actually end up barfing, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I get it; it's their job, but
yeah. They weren't mean. They were.
Oh,
nice.
I saw a post on Instagram from Lindsay Ellis that seemed like a nightmare scenario, and made me pretty nervous because we're going to be flying American next month. But it was she was sitting on an American Airlines flight, and you could hear them announcing over the loudspeaker that despite unloading a bunch of luggage, they still needed 11 passengers to give up their seats so that the plane could safely fly because it was over the weight capacity.
Yeah.
Which I was like, but you know how many seats are on the plane.
Right.
How did you end up in this situation?
Yeah, how does this even happen? Like, it'd be one thing if it was like 1 or 2, right? But 11 is a huge...
It's a huge number.
Mistake, right? Like,
yeah. Did you just happen to have a lot of extra heavy people or extra heavy luggage?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't understand how that happens.
It seems like an example of some kind of extreme incompetence somewhere.
Yeah.
But I don't know who's responsible for that.
So, hopefully everything goes well for us next month.
That doesn't happen on our flight.
That's a nightmare scenario for me because it's like... I feel like that's definitely going to increase my anxiety over how the rest of the flight's going to go.
I feel like it was a little bit of a nightmare scenario when we got stuck in Scotland.
Yeah.
Like we were stuck.
Well, it definitely was for me.
Yeah, well, because you were just barely pregnant and you were having horrible morning sickness.
Yeah.
But also like because we
got the same time as COVID.
We got COVID right before we were supposed to leave, and at the time you had to pass a COVID test to get on a flight, and because COVID was still happening a lot at that point. I guess it's probably still happening now.
It's still happening a lot now. They're just not talking about it.
Yeah. But anyway, we had to stay. We were supposed to be there for 1 week, We ended up having to stay for 3 weeks total, I think.
Yep.
We had to stay 2 extra weeks to get over COVID so we could get positive tests to get out of the country and get back. And like my work, I have unlimited PTO at my job, so it was okay.
Yeah.
I just kind of kept my manager and just kind of kept my manager informed. But I also had a pretty chill manager at the time, which I guess was cool. But so it didn't really hurt my employment or anything, but it could have, and it certainly. We had to pay for the hotel. We couldn't do anything.
Yeah, it was a nightmare scenario because, like, you can't leave the hotel.
Right.
So in theory, it's like, oh, cool, we're stuck in Scotland for 2 more weeks. Like, we had joked about it a few days before that. Like, oh, wouldn't it be awful to be stuck in Scotland? But it turns out, like, actually, yeah, it's pretty terrible when you're quarantined in your hotel room.
Yeah. Being stuck anywhere, really.
Yeah, well, and because you can't get all the things that, like, you would normally get when you're sick to make you feel better.
Right. Like they didn't have saltines, right?
Yeah, saltines are not a thing in the UK. So I was very sick and I just wanted saltines and 7-Up.
Yeah.
And 7-Up tastes different over there too. Like, or maybe it just tasted bad because I was pregnant. Right. I don't know. But
you couldn't drink water without it tasting bad. You couldn't eat pizza. You were like, oh, I don't like tomato sauce or cheese or something, right?
It was crazy. All of the things that, but yeah, I could only drink water with ice in it.
Right.
Pregnancy is crazy and makes your body crazy. I don't recommend being pregnant and having COVID at the same time.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend having COVID at all, really. Yeah. Nothing really to recommend it, I would say.
So yeah, that was a pretty nightmare scenario. I definitely would not want to go through that again. Every smell was bothering me. And and it was too cold to open the window, really. Mm-hmm. Like, I think we ended up doing that anyway, but like, I never thought I would want to leave Scotland so badly. I love Scotland.
Yeah. I feel like we are in the territory of situations which are indeed nightmarish, but also aren't terribly exciting or entertaining to hear about, probably.
Yeah, you might be right.
Like we would probably need to find more fun kinds of nightmare scenarios, I guess.
So is this the idea we want to go with?
I don't know. What else do we have? Do we have anything else we want to talk about?
I don't have any. That was it for me.
I don't know if I want.
We could do. It's Father's Day, so we could do nightmare scenarios as a dad.
Okay.
Or just as a parent in general.
Yeah.
What is it? What would a nightmare scenario be for you?
Well, I was gonna say, like, actually, this might be too serious because, like, when children are in danger or something, right?
Well, yeah.
But, like, I feel like I've seen a lot of like GIFs or something on the internet where like a baby is about to fall off something and a dad that's like sleeping nearby suddenly reaches and grabs it right before the baby falls off or whatever.
Do you have any actual nightmares? Like, because I have some recurring ones.
Like about Rory or whatever? Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't. Not that I remember anyway.
Yeah.
We talked about this before. I don't remember very many dreams.
Yeah.
If I assume I dream, but I don't remember it very often.
Because I will have ones where we're just like hanging out and then all of a sudden realize he's not with me and I don't know where he is.
Right. In real life, there's a real panic feeling for a second. Like,
when you don't know where your kid is.
Where you're like, wait, where's Rory?
Yeah.
Right? And you look all around and he's not anywhere and like, where could he be?
Yeah.
And he was somewhere, obviously, but like, that's happened a few times and it's just like a sudden panic out of nowhere kind of thing.
Yep.
Doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a recurring one for me in dreams, which makes for fun sleeping times.
Yeah. I guess I feel like parenting is such a well-trod thing in our culture that I don't know if there's a lot of like almost anything you want to talk about.
It's going to be your kid being in danger.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be like stuff that everybody kind of knows about, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Rory choking on his birthday was definitely a nightmare scenario.
That was nightmarish. Yeah, he was stuck for a while, couldn't breathe for a while.
Yeah.
Luckily, he managed to spit it out. But
yeah, we almost had to use the de-choker on him.
Yeah, I don't think I want to do a podcast about babies being in danger.
I think you might be. I think it might have been a better idea in theory than practice.
Yeah. Okay, but I mean. Did we have anything besides nightmare scenarios that I guess dad stuff just in general? Yeah,
dad stuff. Favorite dad jokes.
dad hobbies, maybe?
Dad hobbies.
Like dads are supposed to like to do trains,
what are some cliche dad hobbies? Yeah, we could just talk about dad stuff.
Yeah, I guess we should just do that.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling like the nightmare scenario thing seems like it could have legs, but it also not a lot is coming to me, I guess. So maybe we should just talk about dads.
It does seem less fun to talk about. Okay, so do you think that you have any dad hobbies that are particular? Do you have any hobbies that are particularly like dad-like hobbies?
I don't think so. I mean, my hobbies are just different kinds of like creative things I do. Like, you know, I make the videos for the podcast. I mean, make the podcast. That's a hobby, I guess, actually. I make rugs now. I've started doing that. I do, you know, various kinds of art. I do drawings. I do
maybe you should get into, what are some dad hobbies you could get into?
What are some stereotypical dad? Okay, woodworking, trains. What are the dad hobbies?
Woodworking,
tinkering
trains.
in a shed somewhere.
Yeah.
Writing a porno.
Writing a porno.
My dad wrote a porno. That's a dad.
Yeah.
Right there. Yeah.
Grilling, I feel like is pretty, like when I was trying to get you a Father's Day gift yesterday, there were a lot of like grill based
stuff.
Grill based things. And I was like, I don't think this is it.
Not really my thing. We don't have a grill even, actually.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and I don't eat meat, so.
Right. Well, you can grill vegetables, I guess.
Yeah.
Who does that?
Yeah, you could get into grilling vegetables. I would be about that hobby, actually.
Okay.
I would love to eat some grilled vegetables.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you were going to get into, if I were to pick like a dad-based hobby that you were going to get into, I think woodworking would probably be it.
Yeah, I was going to say whittling maybe.
Whittling.
Like
I feel like that's a grandpa activity.
Yeah, I guess so, but it's kind of dad. It's dad adjacent, at least I would say.
Well, grandpas were probably dads at some point.
Well, that's how being a
grandpa works.
Yeah. I feel like I dabbled a little bit in whittling as a child, maybe. Like or at least I wanted to do it. Like I would do a little bit of it, but I never really made much of anything.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could maybe get into that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not like...
I mean, I would be much more into it, though, if you were, like, making cabinets.
Well, I was going to say, like, I'm not into making cabinets. Right?
Could you make
I don't want to make chairs or
Could you make a bookshelf door?
Yeah, probably not. Like, the problem with any of those is that, like, you have to do things to actual, like, standards where they would fit with something else.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the door has to fit in the door frame.
Yeah.
And I am bad at that.
You got to measure.
I know. And I do, and I try. But, like, I've not, like, any art form or hobby or whatever where you have to measure and things have to like line up and fit with each other, I've just always been bad at.
Yeah.
Which, you know, maybe is something I could work on, but it's also not like...
You don't want to.
Not a de-stressing kind of, you know, hobby thing to do.
Yeah.
I guess. Whereas whittling, it's like, you know, if the face turns out weird on the stick that you carved, well, you carved a weird face.
That's what I meant.
It's fine.
That's what I meant for it to look like.
Yeah.
It's art.
Yeah.
What are some other dad hobbies? Could you get into trains?
I could maybe get into making like miniatures of trains and stuff. Like I watch a lot of YouTube channels where they do stuff similar to that. So I could sort of see getting into that maybe. I'm not particularly into trains per se, but I guess it would be cool to build a little diorama or whatever that a train was going around in or whatever.
In the basement?
In the basement. Not in our basement, actually.
Not in our basement, no.
I mean,
We'd have to like finish that basement.
Yeah, I am finding as like a dad who's a homeowner now. I mean, I've been a homeowner before, but like my ex-wife and I owned like a little townhouse that was brand new. And this
not a house from the 1850s.
This house was built in 1851 or something like that originally, and it's much bigger. And we've got a big driveway and a garage and a yard sort of thing, a patio, I guess.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Well, I'm just finding that like it's sort of fun doing some of that like maintenance type work, like
yeah.
Like, you know,
like the leaf blowing
stuff. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of fun. It's also
cleaning the vines off.
Yeah. Yeah. Just being productive for the house, I guess. Also doing like handyman stuff around the house, which again, I'm not particularly good at, but a lot of stuff is simple enough that I can manage it. And it feels kind of good when you do that, you know?
I mean, I appreciate that because I don't want to like install doorknobs.
Yeah. Installing doorknobs is pretty easy, but
I don't want to do it though.
Yeah. Well, except for the room that we're in right now has a weird old door with a weird doorknob, and I tried to replace it and I couldn't because it was too weird and old of a door.
Yeah.
So
we got to replace the door.
I guess.
We got to measure the door and
yeah. The Wild World of Doors, a podcast about doors.
Well, what are
but not the doors.
What are some other dad hobbies? Is playing the ukulele a dad hobby?
I think it's like a twee girl on the internet hobby.
Ah, okay.
But I do it, so playing the guitar is more of a dad hobby. Camping. Not super into. I mean, I'm a little bit into camping, but not very into camping.
You're into being in nature a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I'm from a town with we had lots of woods in our backyard and stuff. So I got lots of nature growing up. I'm not like
you're not like
craving it.
You're not like the dad that's like dragging the kids camping.
No, or hiking or anything. No.
I kind of am. I kind of am that dad.
I'm like the annoying know-it-all dad. I think. I think that's my dad niche. Is that's a kind of dad, I feel like.
Is it a kind of dad?
I don't know. It wasn't my dad, but I feel like it's a kind of dad, maybe.
Yeah.
My dad was a rootin' tootin' guitar playing kind of dad, I guess.
I think you're a chill dad for sure.
Yeah, I'm a pretty chill dad, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm pretty chill in general, so I would imagine that would carry over to my dadness.
Yeah.
Okay, a podcast where we categorize dads.
Okay.
I kind of like that, actually.
Yeah. Like we pick a person and be like, what category of dad is this?
Probably from media. Like fictional people would probably be better than real people.
Yeah.
Just, because that gets
okay, Danny
awkward.
Tanner. What kind of dad is he?
He's a bit of an annoying dad, I would say.
He's a nerd dad.
He's like kind of a nerdy dad, but I don't feel like he's especially knowledgeable. Just like an annoying nerd kind of nerd.
No, yeah, he's like dorky dad.
Dorky, like overly fastidious or something. Like, I don't know, neat freak dad or something maybe kind of thing.
What about Goofy?
Goofy. He might be his own category, Goofy Dad. Actually, I'm not really super aware of his dad exploits, I guess. Because I mean, I've seen a Goofy movie, I believe, but I don't really remember it.
But he's just like
sequels or
he's
anything.
a very earnest dad.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like that's maybe one of my favorite kind of dads. Like the dads that are just like earnest and just like into like having a good time with their kids.
Right.
Like don't care how they look, don't care what's cool.
Right.
Like don't seem to notice when they're embarrassing their kids.
Right. I might be I guess dads are, I guess everyone and all dads contain multitudes. So I might be many different kinds of dads, but I think I'm also like a troll dad a little bit.
A troll dad?
Like, I'll just kind of troll Svetlana and stuff. Like I was texting with her earlier because she's in New York right now. And I was just like using hashtags wrong to be annoying to her. And she was like, no, don't do that. And I feel like that's totally.
It's satisfying when you can annoy your kids, right?
Yeah.
Because they annoy you.
I would notice if I was embarrassing her, but I might still do it anyway.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So troll dad might be
troll
a thing.
dad.
I mean, there's also just like legit bad dads, obviously.
Yeah.
Marceline's dad on Adventure Time.
Oh yeah, he's pretty bad.
He's
dad.
Literally like the devil. Basically.
Yeah.
And he stole her
Not
fries.
just bad at being a dad, but just a bad guy in general.
Bad guy, wants to eat souls and stuff.
Yeah.
Andy took her fries. She wrote a song about it.
Yeah. Daddy, why did you take my fries?
I bought them and they were mine. Yeah, something like that. Which I guess is a little bit of a troll dad thing to do, but he didn't do it like playfully. He just did it because he was selfish.
Right.
What about like, what was his name? The dad on Fresh Prince. Speaking of Fresh Prince from earlier.
Yeah. I feel like he was a little bit of a hard ass dad.
A little bit. He was like a lawyer and stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Phil?
Rich dad.
Is that his name?
Phil, I think is right. Yeah. Not my favorite.
Or the dad on, what's the show with Urkel? Family Matters?
Family Matters. Yeah.
Reginald VelJohnson.
Yeah.
He was a cop,
He was
right?
a cop. He was also a hard ass dad.
Well, but I feel like he was more of a bumbling kind of dad.
Yeah.
Right? He was like a dads are stupid kind of dad. Like, maybe like I feel like that's like it's a common sitcom trope, right? But like Everybody Loves Ray. Romano, whatever that. Everybody Loves Raymond.
Everybody Loves Raymond. I never watched Everybody Loves Raymond.
I only watched a few episodes of it, but I feel like that was the kind of dad he was.
Like, what's your favorite kind of dad trope? Like, what's your favorite category of dad?
I feel like there's a kind of dad which is narratively inconvenient, which is like a dad that's good and helpful and competent and stuff, where like they always have to be removed from the story in some way or another so that the protagonists will actually struggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I just finished watching This Is Us. Mm-hmm. And you just described the dad on This Is Us, Jack.
Right.
Who is like perfect and wonderful in every way. But of course he has to die tragically.
Right. I think my favorite dad in media probably is the wacky scientist, wizard, like dad who like has some kind of weird arcane knowledge and wants to share it, but he's not very good at it.
Like Rick Moranis in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah. Or like a Doc Brown kind of vibe, or like maybe even a Dumbledore kind of thing, right? Like some kind of like, I mean, Dumbledore's obviously not the dad.
Not very wacky.
Not the dad. Well, Dumbledore is kind of wacky though.
Is he?
Like in the first
Not wacky in the way Rick Moranis is.
Well, in the first book, there's like a part where, and it might have even been in the first movie too, where he gets up to talk to the whole like cafeteria or whatever that's called, the Great Hall, right? And he's like, and now I would like to say a few words. Nitwit, oddment, tweak, or something like that, right? He's like a little bit goofy.
Like British Goofy.
I guess so, yeah.
Okay. British Goofy is more serious than American Goofy.
I guess so, or more reserved or something, maybe, or more dry.
Yeah.
More dry, I would say. But yeah, I guess that kind of like, and that dad also usually has to be removed from the story because he knows things, or he can do things, or has some kind of powers or usefulness that is too helpful for the protagonist, probably. Yeah. I feel like there aren't a lot of stories where dads are kind of inconvenient to stories in general, maybe.
Yeah.
Can you think of any stories that are primarily about a dad? I guess there's like Three Men and a Little Lady and stuff like that. Where I guess if the dad is struggling, that can be the protagonist. But like a dad who's kind of fulfilling the dad role is usually kind of inconvenient. For a protagonist, right?
I guess that's true.
Convenient for the protagonist, but inconvenient for the author trying to give the protagonist struggles and stuff.
Right. Like a struggling single dad, maybe.
Yeah.
But just a dad who's like there and being supportive to his kids and his partner.
Yeah. And
not like, so much.
Helps out with stuff, knows things, can give good advice, right? Like,
yeah.
You want that dad in the past, right? You want that dad in a story. You want that dad in the past where like the hero can miss them.
Yeah.
And maybe they got killed by the bad guy or something, right? Like,
yeah.
Or maybe they'll be there when they get home from Narnia or whatever. But like, right. Yeah. So dads in fiction. Welcome to my TED Talk.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite fictional dad? Did you come up with one?
I don't think
a dad that you aspire to be.
I don't think I've ever seen or read or experienced any fiction with dads in it, now that you ask.
Yeah, I mean, I would say This Is Us, actually, like, now that I'm thinking about that one, is probably like the best dad I can think of. Like, makes the best of like bad situations, like constantly surprising his kids and planning cool things. Yeah. I
mean, that's a dad that would make me kind of feel bad to not be as good as that dad. You know what I mean?
Well, it's aspirational.
Yeah. It can go either way, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, he's a TV dad, right? So obviously, like, in real life, nobody's going to live up to that.
Yeah, of course.
But
I'm also particularly bad at that kind of stuff.
But he can give you some ideas of like, okay, all right, I could take some tips from this.
Yeah. But it might also give you expectations of me that I'm not going to fulfill. I'm just trying to think of any dads from media. You know who's a good, not good dad? Is Picard on Next Generation. He hates kids, or he hates kids, or he doesn't understand kids in the first few. Like, he gets better over time, but like there's like an episode where he gets stuck in an elevator with 2 children or 3 children, I think.
Okay.
And like he has to like work with the children to solve some big like issue that's happening on the ship. Like, I think it was Picard Day actually, and the kids made him like a cake or something, and he was like real awkward about it, and that was kind of fun. People being bad at being a dad is kind of fun. People being thrust into being a dad, I guess.
Yeah.
I really liked the movie Knocked Up when that came out, where like Seth Rogen's a stoner that has to like got a girl pregnant, and now he has to become a dad.
Yeah. You don't really get to see him like
dadding very much.
Dadding though, right?
No.
Like, 'cause the baby's not born till the end of the movie.
Yeah, but he does get his shit together, and like he builds a nursery for the baby and stuff, I think, you know.
Yeah.
Like, he manages to turn it around. I don't know. I guess there's something interesting about being thrust into a father type role. It could be fun. Yeah. I don't know if I have a favorite dad. I guess I'd have to think about it, because there's lots of stuff with dads probably.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're about out of time here.
Yeah, I think so.
What are we going to call this dad podcast that I guess is the one we're doing this week?
Mad About Dads.
Mad About Dads? That's not bad. Egad Bad Dad is not too bad. Egad Bad Dad is not too bad.
Dad's not bad.
Not bad dad?
Not bad dads.
Whatever. I'll figure it out, I guess. All right. Do you want to do your social media?
So you can find all the links to all of our social media on our website, which is coolpodcast.website. You can email us your ideas at ideas@coolpodcast.website. Please send us your ideas. We want to talk about them and give you a shout out. And we are on Instagram at whatshouldpod. We have a YouTube channel. Just look up What Should Our Podcast Be About. Miles has been making some great shorts and posting them on there. And yeah, please follow, like, share, subscribe, all of the things. And that's it. That's all I got.
Welcome to What Should Our Outro Be About? The outro where we try to figure out what this outro that you're listening to right now should be about. I'm still here.
I'm also still here.
I think I should be exempt from having to come up with something for the outro because it's Father's Day.
Yeah, okay. Okay. We could just, I think it should be a dad-based outro, right?
Sure, I suppose.
Should it be maybe just some sort of, you know what? I think that, what if I found something for Jack from This Is Us and we put in like a heartfelt quote from Jack at the end? I'll find it.
I don't like that.
You don't like that?
I don't like that.
You don't know if you like it. You haven't heard it yet.
Well, like the copyright issues and stuff are kind of dicey and
fair. Okay. We could do a favorite dad joke at the end.
Okay. Do you have a favorite dad joke? I could read some more of those bad dad jokes that I got sent.
I have a few dad jokes.
Okay.
That I have enjoyed telling Svetlana and making her roll her eyes.
Okay.
Did you hear about the sidewalk?
No. What about the sidewalk?
It's all over town. Did you hear the joke about the roof?
No.
It's over your head.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Did you hear about these new corduroy pillows?
No.
They're making headlines.
Did you hear the joke about the bed?
No.
That's because it hasn't been made yet.
Have you heard about the circus?
No.
Oh, it's intense. That's just one of my favorite puns in general.
Yeah. Is that enough dad jokes, do you think? You want to throw in a couple more? Those were all the ones that I have in my brain.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Those are all brain based.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see if there's any actually good jokes on this list of dad jokes that I got sent. Did you hear about the man addicted to brake fluid? Says he can stop anytime. I think I want a job cleaning mirrors. I could really see myself doing it.
The mark of a good dad joke is when it makes you go,
Yeah. Some of these are like, what do you call cheese that isn't yours? Nacho cheese. Like that's like popsicle stick level. Right?
But I could see a dad working that one into conversation.
Yeah. Again, like these.
He'd be like, this is nacho cheese.
Right. Like, it's not that I'm above these puns. It's that I'm above this delivery of them.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
fair.
You need a better delivery. What do you call a Frenchman who wears sandals?
I don't know.
Philippe Philip. That one's like sort of something
silly.
almost.
That was very silly.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got in this image that I was sent on my group chat.
Yeah, that was all I had. So.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We're sorry and we won't do better next time.
Bye.
Bye.
What was that podcast about? I'm trying to figure it out. Didn't catch what that was about.